Hey, what is going on, everybody? And I hope you all had a good weekend and happy Monday to everyone today. We're going to be talking about a bit of a retrospective of some of the current outrage that is going on within the community due to recent events over the past 2 months, really, or so. But also, I want to go even further back to about this time last year and talk about a few things that happened around then, and then fast forward to now and the kinds of things that people are really unhappy about and what we might expect in the near future if things go as they did the last 2 years anyways, because it seems that history seems intent on repeating itself here for a hat trick, or in this case, 3 years in a row. But anyways, let's get this started. Okay, and to really kick things off here, I have this this channel on my Discord. It's called The Memory Museum, where I kind of paste things that happened in the past. And there's one thing that I want to start off with before we look at some other things, is one of the first, in my opinion, really paid event that came to Marvel Strike Force, as far as I'm aware anyways, was the Lunar New Year event from 2021 this time last year. You guys may have remembered this one. It was very heavy in Power Cores with enough outrage. There was actually some change in this that made it still shit. But, I mean, they really kind of, like, pushed back on how much Power Cores you needed to clear the milestone. I believe it was 3,000 Power Cores daily. It was still really, really effing awful. But anyways, I wanted to kind of raise that here. You know, this was posted by the CMs about that. I know the text is a bit small. I can't really, increase that. Today, the Lunar Festival event began, and one part of it included the Well Wishes milestone. This rewards players individually for spending Power Cores, in addition to contributing to Alliance rewards. That was another thing, too. It was an Alliance-based milestone, which was awful. We've been reading player feedback regarding the event, expressing that the highest milestones in Well Wishes seem lofty and unrealistic. While the intention was for those top-tier milestones to be a reward for only a select few players who wanted to contribute extra to their alliance by the cheerful celebration, we understand that it can be easily perceived as a goal we want all players to reach. We do apologize for not making the design intentions clearer at the start of the event. So this is something that I really wanted to highlight, because that actually goes to a lot of the root of the problems for things that are ongoing right now. Whether it's the Echo event, whether it was the Scarlet Spider event, whether it's the Magic event, you go even further back, the Weapon X milestone, you guys might have remembered that was super whaley as well, Thanos giving. When the event timer resets on Friday, okay, blah, blah, blah. So they made some changes. That's the point here. Furthermore, to assist all players in progressing these milestones, we'll be giving a daily calendar that grants 100 Power Cores per day. Man, I really feel that after especially this patch and all of the problems, the bugs, the crashes, we've actually not seen any compensation regarding these problems. So that's actually a bit of a departure from previously. But now I kind of want to jump to a few things, starting with, how when this time last year, things really started to bubble. If you see here, February 13th, this was kind of the first one. But before that, I really want to talk about the RTA improvements. So before the new year in 2021, we had RTA which was released, I believe, in October, November 2020. But every single month, people had issues with RTA constantly until we got the, where we are now with RTA. Literally every single month, they tried to make improvements to this game mode, and it never really hit the mark. And so a lot of people were frustrated with a lot of different elements regarding real-time arena, and then it just, was just shit. And so they actually started changing this every single month, basically every patch. And I just wanted to acknowledge that first before we jump to this, which is the acknowledging community feedback from February 13th, 2021. So there was a lot of stuff that was bubbling in the game, a lot of bottlenecks, a lot of gold bottlenecks, just gear, gold, everything was sort of, coming to a head, farmability issues, a lot of the stuff that we're having now, and it resulted in this post after the, the holiday break and stuff like that, because that seems to be where shit hits the fan, is that Scopely goes away for the holiday for a very long time, off and on for like 4 weeks. And so there's, a good chunk of time where a lot of the community's concerns are not really being addressed, and it kind of just bubbles and bubbles and bubbles until we get to where we are now, and that's why the problem is here. So I just wanted to read this really quickly. So over the past few weeks, the dev team has been reading over a lot of feedback coming from the corners of the community, aka Reddit, Discord, content creators, and so on. We've also been in discussion with some leaders of the top alliances regarding concerns with the economy, and we've been finding their feedback immensely valuable. Basically, so they talk about some of the things that they want to go over and they want to improve over the coming months. Orange gear access. So yeah, superior basic catalyst. all orange gear across the board. So what did they say that they were going to do? Updating the raid season milestone to rewards to include more rewards, especially orange gear, increasing the quantity available from the supplies and raid supply store, and a new feature that they're going to highlight for orange gear. So I actually don't remember what this was off the top of my head, but this did happen. This also happened, but it took quite a long time for this to happen. I believe it wasn't until like maybe like May, June. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they did. They increased the quantity, and then they slightly reduced the cost of buying this now in the supply store. Training modules, that was a big problem. Character availability. So this was as a result that they were going to add the Skilletary Flash event. Because this, at this point, I believe this may have been added in like April as well. I forget completely, but character availability. So this is interesting because we're having this problem now. We're still having this problem. If you guys don't remember, in December they made Anti-Venom farmable. They put Deathpool in the Premium Orb. That doesn't count. In January we had Shang-Chi in the Blitz Orb, and that's about it. And now we have February with Cloak. So one character per month. So far, we haven't had any new characters in February. So they're talking about this problem. Previously, we mentioned that we deliver at least 2 characters per month, with 1 guaranteed on the first Wednesday of every month. So they've done this, but they haven't been doing the 2 characters per month. They've not been keeping up with this. And we believe we've done a good job of honoring that commitment. So, yeah, if they talk about fountainable, jokes aside, you know, shit, you know, premium orbs don't count. Maybe it counts for them, but it does not count for us. So again, you know, they tried to make some commitments here. We should be having at least 2, but honestly, it should be like 3. I have a spreadsheet on like farmability, and we're like in the hole. We're like negative 5 or 6 characters, you know, to be like on a decent time schedule, really, at this point. So we need like 2 or 3 characters per month for like the next 3 or 4 months before we're like kind of on par with where we kind of should be. You know, because I think the characters should not be held for any more than 4 months, realistically, before they're made farmable. They talk about Doom Raid rewards, RTA shit, more raid milestones, and like a bunch of bugs and stuff like that. And so, moving forward a little bit, then we got the February 21 first half preview at February 26th. This was 2 weeks later, and so this gave us kind of like a rundown of what was going to come in the next 3 or 4 months, I guess. You know, things like costumes, oh yeah. ISO 8 Tier 2, the blue ISO, Strike Pass. That was their sort of, I don't know, their vault. I don't know. I was gonna come up with a better word. It's really late at night when I'm recording this right now. Exclusive original character, so we know that was Kestrel, but we also know that we also got another one in the form of Deathpool. Save Squad Taz. This took quite a while to roll out, and a lot of other things didn't really come all that quickly either. API, we still don't have that, right? And so jumping up a little bit forward, we have Sentinels of the Spaceway. That's Silver Surfer, so this is March 10th when we got the announcement for this. Now, between February 26th and March 10th, we had Save MSF, right? That came up in around this time, and it was kind of bubbling. There was a lot of people on board with that. I mean, how effective it was, you know, long term, I don't know. Maybe they pushed, a lot of people thought that they pushed Silver Surfer forward because of the release, and it just... This is what they do. We get all frustrated, and then they kind of throw us a bone. They throw us something that we think we want in order to kind of simmer a lot of the rage. And I'm wondering if this is going to happen again. To go back to like 2020, if some of you who have been around for a while might have remembered that Cyclops was released around about February, around Valentine's Day of 2020, and a lot of people were saying the original one was called Fix MSF. And that was the first iteration. Back then, a lot of people were trying to convince the Whale and Kraken alliances and the top alliances to not buy Cyclops. Turned out it didn't really work all that well because the sale numbers were actually quite high, and it didn't really seem to do much then. I don't remember what precipitated that, what actually triggered that. I have been playing for all that time, but literally my memory is not that good. So, yeah, I don't remember what triggered that one. But, yeah, there's been rage around this time every single time, and now we're in the 3rd year of it. And it's like, have they not learned anything? It seems not. And then, you know, history's going to repeat itself. They're going to give us something. They're going to throw something at us. And then we're going to forget all the problems. So now that we've kind of gone backwards to look at what the problems were, I want to kind of look at what some of the problems are now. Okay, and so it's not a Boilon video without raising a spreadsheet somewhere. So this, you guys may have seen this before. I have brought this up before. This is called the Farmability chart. So this is kind of where we're at now. I tracked all of the characters that were made farmable, you know, on all of 2021, and now we're here in February 2022, you know, with Cloak that was recently made farmable. But if you see here on the far right side, all of this red, that's bad because we're actually having less characters farmable, but more characters being released. And therefore, this number here, which is currently at a -5, that's not good. The higher number this gets, basically, the further we're getting behind with more characters released. So essentially, you know, we're net negative in this case because, you know, lots of characters are being released on a monthly basis and not enough characters are being made farmable to sort of catch us up. So in this instance, we're actually currently 5 characters behind where we kind of should be. Realistically, it's a bit more than that, but we currently have around 16 or 17 characters, I believe, unfarmable. If we had 2 or 3 characters farmable a month, you know, at this rate, it would take us about 5 months to catch up, or sorry, 5 months really at this point, but two months to catch up, because the -5 is sort of the catch-up period. This is what I mean. I think that it's okay, I think, for characters to go maybe 4 months to be not farmable, but any longer after that, and it gets a bit absurd. Moondragon's currently sitting at 8 months unfarmable, and at this point, she's become a bit of a meme. Like, there was a meme going around where it had like Moondragon and Cloak on the cover. You know, there was a picture of that because they made Cloak farmable, who you know has only went about maybe 5 months, and Moondragon's now sitting at 8 months and still hasn't been made farmable. Just like, doesn't even matter. Just put her somewhere at this point. So I just wanted to raise this really quickly before we go on to the next topic. There's a lot of problems right now, but you know, let's start talking about the character availability with the shards, with the events, and I want to talk about this part. So with Magic, this is kind of where it started for me, in my opinion. Things weren't actually too terrible before this, but Magic's event resulted in 150 shards. So it's not to do with the rewards more generally, like the event stores and the milestones themselves. You know, they contain stuff that we could use, things that we needed, teal gear, things like this. And so that's not really where the problem lies, but the problem lies with the character shards themselves, because character events have been stingier and stingier and stingier, and we're going to get to some of the more important ones. We had 150 shards that were obtainable by Magic. There wasn't really anything that you could do to grind it out to get more of them. Previous to this, you know, we had characters like Icarus that came the patch before. We had Lady Deathstrike, you know, who had quite a bit of shard availability there that you could get, you know, 4 or 5 star in some cases actually for these characters, and then Magic comes in with 150, so it's not quite a 4 star. So if you didn't pay, you know, that being said, Magic's not, you know, a super crazy character in my opinion, but that's kind of besides the point, because the point really is the amount of shards now that are becoming available for these sort of things, and it's going lower and lower and lower each time. So that's a bit of a problem to me. So fast forward a little bit from Magic, and then we got Scarlet Spider. Now, I'll say that I did. I did spend a little bit of money on Scarlet Spider. This was actually the first time that I had opened my wallet in a good 5 or 6 months, I think, with Scarlet Spider, because I knew that this was a character that I wanted, but this was a character that had really low shard availability. It was a grand total of 126. Now, the initial Fresh Horizons milestone that was available for Scarlet Spider had 50 something shards, I forget. You know, I know the grand total was 126, but I think the Fresh Horizons milestone itself was like 50 something. It was pretty easy to complete, so I will say, but it was a 2-star character, right, for most people, and that was about all you got. Now, the only way that you would get more of that was if you completed the pocket dimensions for the second time, because that's where all of Scarlet Spider's shards were kind of held behind for the most part. The only way to get a 3-star for Scarlet Spider was to clear that pocket dimension for the second time. So for a lot of newer players, or even some mid-game players who weren't able to complete this for the second pass, didn't get that little bit of shards to get him to that 3-star level. But again, for all of us who did, that was 126. Weird number, don't know why, it doesn't really matter. But that's down from the 150 for Magic, right? So 150 to 126. So we're on a downward trend, and this was like start of January, end of December. I forget the exact timeline there. Not really that important. So fast forward to now. Okay, so now we have the Echo event, right? So that's here. Echo is ongoing right now as we speak, and now we've gone from 150 to 126 to 100. So for me, yes, if you guys watched some of my videos last week, I did it. I had a really generous donation, I'll admit. I bought an offer for Echo Part of me was because I wanted to build the Young Avengers. I actually don't think she's worth spending on, so everyone else, please don't do that. If you, it's not worth it. I doubt it's worth it. So I did it because Young Avengers I felt was a team that I really wanted to build because of my 7 Red Squirrel Girl. So that's the main reason. But the point of this is that not only do we know that this character event is uncompletable, free to play, which I want to say is the first time that a character event has been uncompletable, free to play. Other events, uncompletable, like the Lunar New Year, the Weapon X milestone, but this didn't have to do with a character release event. So this is the first character release event that has not been clearable free to play. And the amount of shards that are available free to play are lower. It's 100 shards. So if you're willing to spend money to complete the event, you would get 150. But given how much money it costs to finish the event, the milestones, why did that 50 shards doesn't even matter? You might as well have gone out and bought another offer for Echo and made that up. Like, it just makes absolutely no sense, and it feels terrible because players are now having to spend more to get a character event, which previously all of these were completable free to play. This is the first time that a character event has been this way. Thanos Giving was not a character event. The Weapon X was not a character event. But this is, and this is the first time in my memory where it hasn't been clearable, and it just feels bad, So we've gone from 150 to 126 to 100 shards free to play. And where does it stop? So that's my biggest problem that I have recently in the last 2 months personally. I know there's a lot more issues because we still don't have Gear Tier 13 uniques farmable at this point. There's no other alternative way other than hoping for the best out of the Orange Elite Orb or getting them in the supply store. And I feel that things are still really, really, really slow with Teal Gear. I'm hoping that, that really picks up. But, it was in April of last year when I completed Dark Dimension 4. We're in February, and honestly, I haven't even started yet. So I don't think that that's going to be picking up that quickly. I think that this is going to be extending. Dark Dimension 5 is a completely another story, but I think that's something that's going to take a lot longer for even someone like myself. And so that's crazy. There's a lot of things that need to be, that needs to happen, that needs to be discussed, that the devs and the CMs really need to give us some goodwill here for the community, because a lot of us are concerned with the downward trend of events, with the downward trend of this game, as far as, how it feels for us players. It just doesn't feel good. It feels so bad that I can't even speak properly. But I want to know what your thoughts are about all of the recent events. What do you think is coming? Do you think we're going to get any concessions? Do you think are we going to get a new Save MSF 2022 movement? Do we need would that even do anything? I don't know. Because I'm only one person. I'm not sure where we're at. And that's the concerning thing, is that I don't know what's next. I don't know what's coming. I know that a lot of people are unhappy, but what do we do? What do we do? So that's where I'm going to end the video, and let me know in the comments down below how you're feeling about things lately. How are you feeling about the game? I've already spoken to a few people that, have quit, and that's disappointing. But, we all love Marvel Strike Force, or we wouldn't be here, but they really need to do better. And they can't just keep saying it. They can't just keep using words without actions. It doesn't work that way. So we need better. That's all I can really say at this point. So thanks for watching all. Enjoy your Monday, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see y'all later. Boilon signing out.